Hey! You're serious?
Okay, so we're going to try to follow that, which is not easy. But thank you to Dusty. That was beautiful and really funny. We're not as funny, but we'll try to be as beautiful. So we just want to start by saying we're really blessed to be here this weekend to celebrate the joining of two really amazing families, the Bergens and the Karrases. And it's in that spirit, sort of the appreciation of love and the specialness of families, that we wanted to offer our toast tonight. For those who don't know us, I'm Val Young, and I'm from DC.
I'm Hillary Hoffman, and I live in Denver.
And we met Corey basically on our very first day at Bowdoin at field hockey tryouts. According to Corey, on that day I was dressed considerably earthier, and Hillary was most definitely wearing pearls.
Not true, no.
And Corey, if I had to guess, was rocking a Milton sweatshirt. But that didn't matter because we made for fast friends. And I was so blessed to get to know Hillary and Corey both in those early days because they quickly became my family. As a family, we bonded over the shared field hockey experience, and while we went through some difficult times, certainly, we also had some of the best of times. Squished in the back of a coach bus, right next to the bathrooms, sharing stories and laughing outrageously on long road trips. And as Dusty mentioned, Corey's infectious laugh was just as strong back then.
Our years at Bowdoin definitely brought us even closer together and led our family to include many of the people who are here tonight. I am from Denver, Colorado, and at times it felt like I was the only person who was from west of the Mississippi at Bowdoin. I know that's not true, and representation is here tonight. But the Bergen family would have never allowed for anyone to feel like an orphan. At field hockey games, is that Tim I see over there? At field hockey games, I was taken in by their family. I spent many holidays at their house, including the famous Bergen family Easter egg hunts, which Dusty mentioned before. Very, I would say not so fond memory, more unsettling, is that at one time I actually brought home a tick in my knee to Denver, and I'm convinced to this day that Corey planted them around the yard to take out the competition. So, it worked. I was down for the count, terrified. But I do remember that whenever I was with the Bergen family, I always felt like a part of their family. Eating the chicken parm that up until recently I thought was home cooked by Jane. That's the case. It tasted like it. It was delicious. But luckily our families were destined to stay intertwined. For those of you who don't know, this is pretty crazy. My mom is also named Jane, and my two brothers are named Tim and Chris. So, as my mom, Jane, likes to say, our families are literally soulmates.
So after graduating from Bowdoin, Corey and I moved beyond being just a family, and we actually made a home together. Hillary left us. She moved back to Denver, but we did pick up Anne along the way. And some of the very best memories of my life come from our times at Hancock Street in Boston, which includes our world-renowned Sunday Fun Days. It was a whole bunch of people crammed into our apartment, cooking lobster from Maine that Scotty scored at a great price, drinking spiced cider, watching Love Actually. So perhaps not the best combination for the Monday Fun Days. I think that was Scott's first bout of corn dog poisoning that night. But anyway, while we were at Hancock Street, something fabulous happened. Our small family of three, Anne and Corey and I, welcomed a few others. I started dating Nick, who is Scott's most handsome groomsman, you'll see him. And Anne started dating Justin. And then Scott and Corey finally started dating each other. And we became inseparable. But, you know, we grew up and we moved out, and some got married and engaged. went to grad school, and suddenly we found ourselves living in all kinds of separate cities, but with some really special connections.
So this is where it gets pretty weird. Val's twin sister moved to Denver after college and moved in with me. And then Corey's brother moved to Denver as well to attend college. And suddenly the three of us, Corey, Val, and I, found ourselves meeting up in Denver fairly frequently. Blissfully for me, I did not have to be the one who was always traveling back to the East Coast. My mom cooked many homemade meals for Lonnie and eventually Tim, and the visiting Bergens making up for years of meals that they provided for me. And also the Youngs, who are not here, but their steak tips at field hockey tailgates are legendary. My parents were so relieved to finally be able to repay the many favors, which mostly were in the form of food. I was very grateful for the many times I was taken out to dinner and cooked for while I was at Bowdoin, but I know that my parents were mostly comforted by the fact that people like the Youngs and the Bergens were just a drive away if anything ever happened. And when, an accident did happen in Denver, my family and I were extremely grateful to be able to be there right away and to provide support for the Bergens. The Bergens have visited Denver many times, visiting Tim at DU. And most of those times we have had a dinner of some kind at the Hoffman House, which has, usually gotten mildly out of control. So my parents were very sad not to be able to be here tonight, but I'm sure, Jane Bergen, you're a little bit happy that my dad isn't here to be a pretty negative influence on Hunt Bergen. All right, that'll comfort him, trust me. Corey and Scott moved to UVA to attend business school, joining my youngest brother, Chris, who was, as Corey calls, a college co-ed at UVA at the time. They became like siblings to Chris, Scotty being the younger brother, of course. And they also kept a very good eye on Chris for me. There were many occasions where Corey would send me paparazzi-like photos of my brother in a bar. So I much appreciated that. Chris did not, but that's besides the point. Scott was always trying to be an honorary member of my little brother's fraternity. And when Corey went to sleep, he was always hitting up Chris for late night food. They even, for some reason, developed a catchphrase, DTC, which eventually I learned was "Don't Tell Corey."
And somewhere along the way, in this mess of siblings and parents and families and moves, we realized that all of our separate families in our minds had merged into one. The Bergens and the Hoffmans and the Youngs were all in overlapping circles around the country. And if there's a more special or valuable legacy that's come out of those first few days of Bowdoin field hockey practice, we can't think of one.
So, to Corey, you are our sister. You are our best friend. We are so proud of you and all that you have accomplished, mostly for choosing a partner in Scott. He is the most caring, brightest, most fun person that you could choose to shine with you.
And to Scotty, from the first time we met you, we knew that you would find someone special to be with for the rest of your life. Your love for Corey and your commitment to take care of her, especially with us a little bit farther away than we would like to be, leaves us eternally grateful. We trust you unconditionally and we love you.
And to both of you, we look forward to seeing how your family grows and to joining our future families forever and staying close and keeping up all the good memories. So,
To Corey and Scott.
Just Corey.